welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take the sources you send us and really try to boil them down to the key insights.
Get right to the core of it.
Exactly. And today, we're looking at something pretty fundamental in overseas ministry specifically. It's all about working with local partners.
Yeah, the dynamics, the importance. It's huge.
I got some excerpts here from Empowering Local Partners by Kay Parks. And it's interesting. It gives us, personal stories from the field, but also some strategic thinking.
And reflections on success, too, right? Which can be tricky.
Totally. So if you're interested in how cross-cultural collaboration really works, or just, how effective global efforts actually function on the ground, this should be pretty relevant.
Definitely. And what jumps out right away from this material is, well, it's the insistence that working with local partners isn't just like a nice bonus.
Right. Not just helpful.
No, it's positioned as absolutely essential, foundational. The author even quotes Stan Parks. He's a CPM trainer saying that most church planting movements, the vast majority, they get going because of local believers' vision and training.
So it's not primarily an outside-in thing.
Exactly. It's about fanning the flame that's already there or, empowering people within their own community. Why do you think that emphasis is so strong right from the start?
That's a good question. I mean, the text really brings it home with the story of Flora. She's a local church planter the author partnered with.
Yes.
And their whole approach to finding these persons of peace, as they call them, it was so grounded in their shared reality.
How so? What do they do?
Well, they prayed together, obviously, but then they visited women Flora already knew, people in her network. They were just present in the community. It wasn't some external strategy dropped in.
It was collaborative.
Yeah.
Organic. And that touches on a key reason why this is so vital, right? Avoiding that perception. The idea that the faith message is somehow tied to a specific foreign culture.
Right, like the author mentions wanting to avoid American Christianity becoming the label.
Yeah. Can you maybe unpack a bit why that cultural connection can be such a problem? Why it's so detrimental?
Well, I think when faith gets tangled up with a foreign culture, it just creates these extra hurdles, doesn't it?
Definitely.
People might feel like they have to change their whole identity, not just their spiritual beliefs. It can feel imposed, like it doesn't belong to them. Whereas
someone like Flora, being local, she gets the nuances.
Exactly. She understands the social stuff, the unspoken things, who trusts who. An outsider just wouldn't have that intuition.
Absolutely, which makes the partnership invaluable. But, the source is also really honest about the challenges. It wasn't all instant success.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
It talks about finding lots of people who were, open to chatting.
Willing to talk.
But not many who actually wanted to gather with others, to form a group. That must have been discouraging.
I imagine so. And that little story about the woman who was really enthusiastic in conversations, but never actually invited anyone else, and then she just moved away.
Right. It really shows how hard it can be to identify that person of peace they were looking for. Makes you wonder, how do you even track progress then, if the immediate results aren't there?
And that's the perfect lead-in to this MEWL framework the author talks about. MEWL?
MEWL, okay.
Yeah, it became a different way to think about success, shifting away from just counting heads immediately. It stands for model, equip, watch, and letter.
Okay, let's break that down. Model, equip, watch, letter.
Yeah.
How did that actually play out with Flora?
Well, model, as I understood it, was about the author actually showing how to share, how to have these conversations.
Oh, demonstrating.
Yeah, but also encouraging Flora to do it too, not just watching. Then equip. That sounds like giving practical tips, encouragement, praying together, building her up.
Right, providing the tools and support. Makes sense. What about watch?
Watch seems pretty straightforward, observing Flora as she started taking the lead, seeing where she might need a bit more help or encouragement.
Okay, so active observation, not passive. And letter. That one sounds a bit different.
Yeah, letter. It seems to represent that ongoing connection and support, even maybe when they weren't physically together, like maintaining the relationship, the encouragement over distance and time.
Okay. So it's much more about the process of investing in Flora rather than just the immediate outcome.
Exactly. It's about her development, her capacity, not just numbers right now. There's this specific example where the author deliberately had Flora lead conversations so she could watch and then give really specific feedback.
That's very intentional, isn't it? Each step seems designed to build Flora's confidence and skills.
Very relational, too. It's not a generic training program. It's tailored to her.
And the payoff, well, it seems like it came later, but it was significant.
Yeah, the author goes back, right? and finds out Flora and her husband, they just kept going.
Kept sharing, kept praying.
And they'd actually started discovery groups.
Wow.
Plus, another local worker had shown up and was now partnering with Flora. That ripple effect.
That's amazing. So the initial investment, even if it felt slow, really multiplied.
And the key thing, Flora is now MEWLing others.
So she's become the trainer.
Exactly. That's the goal, isn't it? That's sustainable empowerment. The trainee empowering others.
It really underscores that idea of perseverance. Sticking with it, even when you don't see those big, flashy results right away.
Yeah, because maybe the results look different initially. It makes you think about how easily we can get discouraged if we're only looking for one kind of success metric.
Which brings us back to that whole idea of redefining success. The author was really open about feeling like a CPM failure at one point.
That vulnerability is powerful. Because I think many people in similar fields might feel that way sometimes. You get focused on certain benchmarks.
And maybe miss the deeper impact that's unfolding. So what changed your perspective, do you think?
I think. Well, that quote from her husband seems crucial.
Which one was that?
It's not what you can do to start a movement, but what needs to be done.
Okay. That shifts everything.
Right. It takes the focus off your achievement, your results, and puts it squarely on the needs of the situation. And often what needs to be done is empowering the local leaders.
Not trying to be the hero yourself.
Exactly. Supporting, equipping, praying for those already there. That's presented as maybe the most significant contribution someone external can make.
That makes a lot of sense.
And you see the author's commitment to keep using this MEWL approach model, equip, watch, letter in new places, focusing on prayer, training, sharing, empowering local women. It shows how much value she ultimately placed on that strategy.
Yeah, she clearly believes in it based on that experience. And ending with that quote from the Apostle Paul from Philippians.
About partnership and gratitude.
Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. It ties the practical strategy back to a kind of deeper faith and long-term perspective, doesn't it?
It really does. It frames the whole endeavor in partnership and trust in something bigger than just the immediate activities.
So if we're pulling this all together, what are the big takeaways from this deep dive into Kate Park's experience?
Well, first, just the absolute centrality of local partners. It's not optional, it's core.
Right. And second, maybe needing to rethink what success actually looks like. It's not always immediate or easily measured in conventional ways.
Definitely. And that MEWL framework offers one way to focus on the investment in people modeling, equipping, watching, staying connected.
And the long-term ripple effect of that kind of empowerment, seeing Flora then go on to empower others.
Yeah.
That's the real goal.
Yeah. It connects back to what you, the listener, might be looking for, those aha moments. And maybe the surprise here is that sustained collaborative effort, focusing on empowering others, even when it feels slow. That can be incredibly powerful in the long run.
It's a different kind of quick insight. The insight being that maybe patience and empowerment are the faster route to sustainable change.
Well put. Which leads to maybe a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
How could these ideas, empowering local expertise, redefining success around investment and long-term growth, rather than just immediate outputs, how might that apply in your own work, your own collaborations, projects, whatever field you're in?
That's a really interesting question to consider, how that principle translates beyond ministry work.
Yeah, something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.